you're looking at Nikola Gardović. He's the father of the groom, Milan, who's getting married today, and he couldn't be more proud. Their small apartment in Sarajevo is bursting at the seams with friends and family, all ready to celebrate the newlyweds. It's a day of joy, and probably the happiest day of Nikola's life. But in less than 3 hours, Nikola will be dead. It's the early 1990s. Yugoslavia is a state made up of several different ethnicities: Serbs, Croats, Slovenes, Bosniaks and Albanians, to name a few. And it's falling apart. Years of corruption, inflation, rising nationalism and tension between the many ethnic groups has finally reached a breaking point. And now, less than a year ago, Serbian President Slobodan Milošević took control of the shared Yugoslav military. He's now the most powerful man in Yugoslavia. Publicly, he's begun talking about uniting all Serbs into one giant state, without Croats, Albanians or Bosniaks. To most, it sounds like ethnic cleansing. And for Bosnia's president, Alija Izetbegović, it's clear what needs to happen. Bosnia will leave Yugoslavia. He's called for a vote of independence, and as expected, his Bosnian Serb colleagues are far from pleased.
Vi hoćete u Hagu da postignete da je ovo treća ili četvrta republika koja neće da živi u Jugoslaviji, a to ne možete jer mi hoćemo da živimo u Jugoslaviji.
This is Radovan Karadžić, leader of the Bosnian Serbs. And right now, he's speaking in parliament with a message for Izetbegović, a threat.
Nemojte da mislite da nećete odvesti Bosnu i Hercegovinu u pakao, a muslimanski narod možda u nestanak. Jer muslimanski narod ne može da se odbrani ako bude rat ovdje.
Karadžić has just openly threatened the president.
Iz dana u dan suočeni smo sa sve gorim odnosima i konačno sa otvorenim prijetnjama na javnoj sceni. Ja ipak želim da poručim građanima Bosne i Hercegovine: neka ne strahuju, do rata neće doći. To je moja prognoza, zasnovana na nekim činjenicama, na nekim provjerenim činjenicama. Prema tome, mirno spavajte. Ne treba se bojati, jer za tuču i za svađu trebaju dvoje.
Despite the public threats from his Serbian rival, Izetbegović is convinced that Karadžić is bluffing. And for a moment, it looks like he's right. On the day of the vote, nothing happens, apart from a Serbian boycott, which was expected. And with a Bosniak and Croat majority, Izetbegović wins. Back at the wedding of Nikola's son Milan and his bride Diana, no one's thinking about the risk of a civil war. With the ceremony over, the wedding guests drive to Sarajevo's old part of town for the reception. Along the way, they wave Serbian flags from their cars, honk their horns through the streets, and sing out of the windows. By pure chance, the party convoy passes a known Bosniak gangster walking on the side of the street. And when he sees the Serbian flags, he's furious. Off-screen, the man has just entered the car park with a gun. Nikola Gardović is dead. By all accounts, it was a case of being at the wrong place at the wrong time. But it doesn't matter. Serb leaders are quick to call it proof their communities are no longer safe, while Bosniak officials call it the act of a reckless criminal. To make matters worse, the gunman, though quickly identified, is not arrested. That same evening, armed Serb militias loyal to Karadžić throw up barricades and checkpoints across Sarajevo. Local police are completely powerless, and within hours the capital is effectively under Serb control. The next day, Izetbegović and Karadžić meet to calm things down and hopefully bring an end to the tension before it escalates any further. What Izetbegović doesn't know is that Karadžić has already been given backing from Milošević and Croatia's president to split Bosnia. In secret, Milošević starts to transfer Bosnian Serbs from the Yugoslav army directly into Karadžić's Bosnian units. Overnight, his force goes from a few scattered militias to more than 80,000 troops. On top of that, Milošević also sends his soon-to-be infamous paramilitary. Among them are some of Serbia's most hardcore ultranationalists, and they've been given one order: to remove anyone that isn't Serbian, by any means necessary. Their first target is the city of Bijeljina in northeastern Bosnia in early April of 1992. It takes the heavily armed Serbian forces just 3 days to capture the city. On the final day, the soldiers track down and round up any known Bosniaks and supporters of Izetbegović. They're then lined up on the side of the streets and the town square and executed. The ethnic cleansing of Bosnia has begun. In Sarajevo, tens of thousands of Bosniaks, Croats and Serbs flood the city centre, marching together for peace. Suddenly, some of the demonstrators decide to march towards Karadžić's party headquarters, the Holiday Inn. They don't know that Karadžić has placed snipers on top of several buildings around the hotel, and as the crowd attempts to storm the lobby, they open fire. Six people die. Across the east of Bosnia, Karadžić's units move into towns with largely Bosniak populations. Civilians are dragged from their homes, beaten in the streets, or taken away at gunpoint. In Zvornik alone, around 2,000 people vanish in just a few days. Any remaining survivors are told to leave the city. A week ago, 49,000 Bosniaks lived in Zvornik. Now, not a single one remains. 5 centuries of Islamic life and culture have been wiped out. It doesn't take long before the Bosnian Serb forces control 3/4 of Bosnia, and so their final target, Sarajevo, is next. For the next 4 years, Karadžić will bomb the city every single day, hitting homes, hospitals and schools. Food, water and electricity will run out after just a few months. Over 100,000 people will die, and more than 2 million will be displaced. Not until in late 1995, after NATO airstrikes force Milošević to negotiate peace, the Bosnian War and genocide will end. Karadžić was arrested in 2008 after more than a decade in hiding. Milošević was arrested in 2001 and sent to The Hague soon after. Both were charged with genocide and crimes against humanity. Karadžić was found guilty on all accounts and sentenced to 40 years in prison. Milošević died of a heart attack in 2006 in his cell before his trial could conclude. For Izetbegović, peace came at a price.
You have seen what war has wrought. You know what peace can bring. Seize this chance and make it work.
In an effort to end the war quickly, the US focused on securing peace at any cost. Seeing Bosnia's government exhausted and surrounded, it was decided that the burden of compromise would fall on them. The result was a peace deal that left nearly half the country under Bosnian Serb control and built a state divided into 2. More than 30 years later, many Bosniak and Croat families still haven't returned to the homes that were taken from them during the war. Thousands who survived extreme human rights abuses are still waiting for justice. But with the international trials long over and leaders in Bosnia's Serb-controlled region denying many of the crimes ever taking place, the chances of that ever happening are almost zero. As for the man who killed Nikola Gardović, in 2007, on his way to morning prayers, he was shot and killed outside his apartment in Sarajevo. His killer was never found.